Illegal crossings on the Polish-Belarusian border have become quite scarce in recent weeks, ranging from a few to a dozen or so daily. Now we are heading to the area near the Czeremcha village where the crossings are still the most frequent. Early morning, you were told that a few people had been trying to cross into Poland.
When we arrived to work at 5 a.m., we were told that stones had been thrown as well as lasers and lights flashed from the Belarusian side. We packed our gear into the car and started heading towards the border. When we arrived there, we launched a drone. 4 migrants were rounded up at the border line by soldiers and 3 migrants were identified at the distance of 300-400 meters from the border line. We were then joined by another patrolling team and we set off to look for these people. We found them and we got them to the car. I put some clothes on and got out into the yard and saw soldiers escort one group. Then, after a while, they were bringing more of them. Then they gathered them over here. A vehicle may have come, I'm not sure because I didn't get out on the road again. And I guess they took them away and that's it. So I got back home.
Trespassing is definitely more frequent over here than at other sections of the border. Why is that?
There's a good road network in the area on both sides of the border, leading to cities like Brest and Minsk. So our 3 southern posts around here, Mirnik, Czeremcha and Dubice, have reported the most illegal crossings. In this area, forests cover 80% of the land, which helps in hiding from the border services.
What's the profile of the crossings?
Illegal crossings are generally made at night, lasting from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., obviously under the cover of darkness. Migrants come out of the blue like in a flash. Suddenly, you hear twigs snap and the barbed wire being cut. Stones are thrown at the guards and lasers are used to dazzle the officers. While being dazzled, we are not able to count how many people are actually crossing, and so the trespassers are trying their luck.
Corporal, where are we going now?
We are going to the railway tracks at the Połowice border crossing point.
What can you witness there while on duty yourself?
Migrants on the Belarusian side happen to be aggressive, shouting and throwing stones at us. After they enter into Poland, they cool down a bit and become more compliant. Over here, attempts to trespass have been quite frequent. Last November, we reported a major crossing by 200 people.
What happens to the migrants who come through?
If they come through, they are transferred to a verification center to find out their identity. Then, if someone wants to make an application for international protection, it is filed there. Those who do not want to stay in Poland are informed of the procedures and turned back to the borderline. Last year, there were over 4,000 illegal migrants, and out of that number, only 115 people filed an application, a very low ratio indeed.
The Połowice road crossing, I suppose, used to be a regular border point before the migrant crisis. Now, however, as we can see, it is closed and there's hardly any traffic.
It does not look now as it used to, I'm afraid. We had quite heavy traffic here with lots of people and tourists crossing. Now there are roadblocks everywhere. We have had a grave situation here once. A crowd of migrants tried to force their way through the fence.
Is there any likelihood of large groups of migrants camping out around here again?
We realize this may happen, and that's why we are building a border barrier to prevent this. Milder weather may be conducive to increased numbers of people. When you take a look at the historic data since December, you'll see a few people crossing then. Now they are sometimes more than 20. These numbers are still growing, so we expect more and more people.
Border guards over here work round the clock, but not only they. There are obviously soldiers, too, who have supported the guards since the migrant crisis began. These services, including the army, police, and territorial defense, are working together when necessary to tackle the migrant crisis.